Welcome back to Cetacean Connections, a peek inside a National Geographic expedition where me and my team are studying vocalizations by dolphins in Hawaii. You've been developing explorer skills like how to collect information about a certain species, honing in your observation skills, and starting to ask questions about the natural world through the process of scientific inquiry. On our end, we've had tremendous success in finding cetaceans off Hawaii's coastal waters using our observation skills. We found a pod of bottlenose dolphins offshore, including a newborn calf that Matthias estimated is less than 2 weeks old. Researchers call this young of year. Our team observed subtle details about the calf, including these white stripes along the side of its body. These are actually called fetal folds, which are from being scrunched up in its mother's womb. With our camera as a tool, we would have never noticed these folds if we hadn't been paying attention to the small differences. After all, it's pretty hectic in the hustle and bustle of data collection aboard the Zodiac. But our team has spent most of our time in the field with a certain species found in Hawaii called spinner dolphins, or naya. Spinner dolphins can travel in groups of 100 or more individuals, and they're found in shallow coastal waters at predictable times of the day. They get their name for the way that they leap out of the water and, well, spin. As we go out into the water each day in search of dolphins, our team has to work together to be able to make sure that this is a well-oiled machine. Let me show you what it's like. As we survey for dolphins, each team member takes a different segment of the boat, which we describe as being divided into different sections like a clock. Once we do spot the dolphins, the boat approaches extremely slowly while we observe the behaviors of the individuals. Are they resting or moving slowly? Are they curious about the boat or are they avoiding it? Are they traveling fast and clearly on their way to do something? We record it all on our data sheet, including where we are with a GPS waypoint and the time that these things are happening. But arguably, the most important piece of our data sheet is the behaviors that we notice. A behavior log recorded in detail over a period of time is called an ethogram. It's an incredibly helpful tool for researchers and explorers to better understand just what they're looking at and to make sure that they can remember key details of an encounter afterwards. When it comes to studying vocalizations and sounds that cetaceans are making underwater, behavior is incredible insight. We want to know what each dolphin is doing as they make the noise. So as we have one team member collecting information on a data sheet, another team member is collecting photo ID images of each individual in the pod. Photo ID is a process that dolphin and whale researchers use to identify each individual in a group. That's because the dorsal fin on dolphins can be unique to each individual, like a fingerprint. The fin could have scars or natural birthmarks or healed injuries. That's why collecting or capturing a high-resolution shot of that dorsal fin can be added to a catalog that is used for the pods in the area. For example, like the newborn bottlenose dolphin that I just described, we now know that that individual was less than 2 weeks old. And if we see that dolphin a few years from now, we'll have the age of it. That's only possible through the process of photo ID, and that's why we have one dedicated team member on our marine mammal research team capturing images throughout any interaction or encounter. And once the foundation or the beginning of our data collection is completed through photo ID of dorsal fins, capturing the GPS points, and making sure to note the time and behaviors, that's when we make the decision of whether or not to get in the water to capture underwater vocalization recordings through the arrays that were described in the previous video. But that requires explorer decision-making. Is the weather favorable? Are the animals curious? It's important to recognize that even though we are able to conduct these research activities under federal permit, we want to make sure that we are causing the least amount of stress to the individuals that we're studying. This is not something we take lightly, which is why we only collect underwater recordings of vocalizations under the right circumstances. When the time is right, a swimmer will slip into the water quietly with the array and collect underwater vocalization recordings of dolphins from the surface. We've been able to successfully gather recordings on multiple pods of spinner dolphins throughout the expedition. The work isn't done after we collect the data though, it now needs to be processed. Reviewing video footage during the processing stage includes noting the behaviors conducted by dolphins in the pod, as well as pinpointing the sound source of any vocalizations that were recorded. The data collected in Hawaii as part of this expedition the last 2 weeks will bring us closer to understanding dolphin communication, but also how the underwater soundscape is utilized by species like these. This is especially important because the ocean faced numerous threats, mostly linked to activities conducted by humans. For example, as the ocean gets noisier through shipping activity, this threatens the communication of dolphins and whales. The vocalizations that we're just beginning to understand can be drowned out by that noise because it travels further. This is called noise pollution, and it threatens how dolphins and whales communicate by drowning them out. So if we can begin to understand how dolphins and whales use the underwater soundscape through vocalizations to survive, then we can better protect them. The explorers conducting research aboard the Nautilus have been doing this for decades. But it's important to remember that we all started somewhere, and I gained a lot of these skills by using other people's data to practice on. So for your final activity, we want to give you our data so that you can practice a behavior log through building an ethogram. You'll get a chance to record behaviors of underwater spinner dolphins that were captured aboard the Nautilus during this expedition, and you'll be able to log it in your field log, make observations about their behavior, and time up what you see. All you need to successfully conduct an ethogram is your observation skills, the video file, and an ethogram log that we've provided. But if you don't want to study spinner dolphin data, we have a few other options for you too. Option 1 is you can use the underwater spinner dolphin footage that we captured off the coast of Hawaiʻi Island. This was captured by the marine mammal team that you got to learn a little bit more about through Cetacean Connections. Option B is you can use video footage that was captured by the Nautilus's ROVs or underwater robots from deep sea ecosystems. Their deep sea rover is called Hercules, and it's deployed often throughout other expeditions to gather footage of what type of species live so deep. A lot of these species haven't been identified before, and that's what makes this video footage so awesome. They log their video footage and keep it under a video playlist aboard their YouTube that's separated by species. You can see what kind of unique species make the deep sea ecosystem their home, like sharks or octopus. Choose a video from their library to conduct an ethogram and know that it has to be at least 3 minutes. And option C is to conduct an ethogram using an environment near you today. Think back to the living things that you had a chance to observe when you were practicing Kilo. Maybe it's a gecko in your backyard or a bird that has a bird nest nearby. If you think you can observe one of those focal species for at least 3 minutes, then give it a try using our ethogram template provided. The skills you've developed as part of Cetacean Connections are skills that us explorers use every single day. Whether it's observing the natural world around us, collecting information during a busy encounter, or asking more research questions to uncover new knowledge that we want to discover. Explorers are continuously asking questions, collecting information, and pushing ourselves further to get the job done. The ocean needs more of us right now. Explorers to answer questions, storytellers to inspire others, and educators to make sure that the next generation stays curious about our natural world. We aren't separate from nature. We're here to understand it better. And now you have the tools to do just that from wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining us aboard the Nautilus and taking a peek into the world of dolphin communication. Until next time, explorers.